What is going on, everybody? It's Mr. Banks here coming at you live with another trade recap for the BBR strategy. Before we get started, go ahead and click that subscribe button on the YouTube channel just so you don't miss any of our videos that we put out daily to make you a successful, disciplined trader that I know all of you are. Now, it will be going over my trade recaps that I do give in the Wolves of Wealth Discord. If you don't already know, Wolves of Wealth is a full-fledged community. As you can see, we win daily, every single day. But beyond that, we are here for all of you beginner traders to make you successful traders. We have options calls, common calls. We go over long-term ads for your portfolio and Roth IRAs. We have options chat, commons, small accounts, dividends, whole education center for you, and business and much more to get you into the shape you need to be a successful trader. Now, I do also give all these to my super followers. So if you go to my page on my Twitter, go ahead and click that super follow button so that you can get all of these trade plans every single day as I put them out every single morning to make you a successful trader. As you can see, these are the same trade recaps as I give in my Discord. Now, let's get started. Go ahead and go to homeworks where I give the trade recaps. Now, I'm going to start with Tesla. I gave 242, 245 reject for puts, below 233 for puts, or bounce for calls. Now, as you can see, I also said with all this chop and range this week, we have a lot of levels and zero direction. Pretty risk off day for me until we can find a solid direction again in the market. Now, as you guys could see, it was a major chop day. No, I'm not a magician. I just have years of experience and understand how the market moves. So if you could take a look, we go over Tesla. As I did say, 242 and 245 were my levels. Now, I use the BBR strategy, which I have made myself over 9+ years of experience. It is called the bounce, break, reject strategy because, as we all know, stocks only do three things. That's right. If you break it down, stocks will only do three things. And if you understand this concept, it will make your trading much more easier. So stocks will bounce on support, they will reject off of resistance, or they will break through support or break through resistance. Now, I much prefer a reject or a bounce. I feel that these are the best type of plays to play, especially for options. Breakouts can be a lot of false breakouts. I see a lot of people get killed, panic sell, a lot of bad stuff happens trying to play breakouts. But playing the reject as well as the bounce is the most profitable and easy for you to do. So Tesla 242, 245. How did I find these levels? Well, I only find these levels every single morning during pre-market, and I use after hours and pre-market levels to find them, as well as previous day and weeks major support and resistances. Now, as we know, support, if we have a major support, as you can see here, right? Support, right? This is a major support. Look what happens once major support gets broken. It becomes resistance, right, guys? It becomes resistance. So if a major support gets broken, it will then become resistance. So these are the major levels you need to be looking out for. So super simple. As we could see here, 242 was my first level. Right here, right? So we found support on 242, but where did we find also a reject, right? And you could see it all through this week, right? So we found support 242. Let me redraw that one a little bit better for you guys. So we found support 242, right? Found support 242. So as you can see, this is one of my major levels today. Why was that? Well, it used to be a major support level. It used to be a major support turn resistance, right? So once we broke through this major support, look what happened. Resistance, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. So I knew that if we were to come up, there was a high chance to take a put at the resistance of 242. Because what did I just explain? A major support, once broken, will now become a major resistance. So we found that this was a major support, 242. You can all see that. We came back and that became a major resistance. This is why it is one of my levels. And we saw resistance, 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 right? This level played over the next couple of days. Now, I also said 245 was my next level. How did I find that? Well, if we want to take a look, right? Another major level of support, right? Turn resistance, right? Another major level of support, turn resistance. Now, I could have said 244 as well, but 242 to 245, as we know, Tesla moves pretty violently. So we took these puts and it paid off absolutely beautiful today. If you guys take a look, this was the perfect put opportunity. And if you want to take a look here, as I just had this line before, if you want to use these bodies, look at where, major support, turn resistance, right? Turn resistance. Now we broke a little above. That's why I had 245 if we got there. But as we can see, this strategy is playing off of previous major supports and resistances. Now, 242 played out beautifully today, right? Boom. Gave you about a 6-point move. This one, 245, came all the way down to 235. That was a 10-point move, right? 10-point move. So we even kind of played, say we didn't play this 245 area and we waited for the 242. So once we broke down, we saw we couldn't get it back above and we could have took puts right here as well. Or guys, as these levels work in the BBR strategy, these are pivot point levels, right? These are pivot point levels. So they act just like pivot points. So if we broke down below the level, we could take puts as well, right? If we broke down below the level. So 242 was the level. We broke underneath it. So we could have take puts on the break below, right? On the break below or on this reject. And you could see how well this played out beautifully for us on Tesla. Now, 233 obviously was this major area of support that it just found. This is why I had the break of that or a bounce there. But let's take a look at how it found support on this 235. So a little lesson in here for you guys, right? We broke down, consolidated, and broke out, right? We broke out. So what are another thing stocks do? They will break out and retest, break out and retest. So if you guys take a look here, this was the breakdown and this was the breakout point, right? Right about 236 was the breakout point, right? This was a major resistance level, right? Major resistance, turn support. Do you guys see that? Another example of resistance turning to support. And likewise, this support, right? The support up here turned into resistance. So it's a pretty simple concept. This is what stocks do. They go back and forth like this all the time. So, I've been trading stocks for a while. So finding these levels, to me, is pretty easy. They're just, I can see it, look at it, know exactly where to find them. I know a lot of people have problems finding this, but over time with experience, you will be able to find these levels pretty easily and understand how the movements in stocks work. So as you can see, another thing right here, go over it one more time. This was a breakout level, right? This was a major area of resistance. Once we broke over that resistance, we found support. Look, we found support again, a bounce on support, right? Bounce on support, right? Reject off of resistance, bounce off a major support, reject off a major resistance, guys. This is what stocks will do over and over and over again. So this is why having levels and levels are so important, right? This is why levels are so important, guys. Let's go over another one at Apple at 147, 148 for rejects. Now, I do use the 30, 15, and 10 minute in pre-market to find these levels. When it gets pretty choppy like this and we've been in a range, the 15 minutes seems to work I kind of like the 15-minute the best, but when we have major trend days and we have broken out of like a chopper range, then the 10, the 5, and the 30 can work really good as well. So now let's go over Apple 147, 148 reject. How did I find this? Well, what was 147, right? What was 147? Well, we could take a look right here and we can see this was a super major area of resistance, right? A super major area of resistance right here at 147, right? So we can go back all the way to September 29th. We could see that this was a major area of resistance. But what look, let's look to the left a little bit. What was this resistance before, right? It was a breakout level, right? We found resistance here around 147. And what happened? We found support on it. We found support on it, right, guys? Just like I was just explaining. Once we break out of resistance, it will find it as support. So 147 was that major support level. And look, breakout, we came back and we retested. So what 147 was that major area, right? Here's a 30-minute. Makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So let's go right here, 147. Let me do that for you guys. All right, so you can see this was a major run on 30-minute. This was a major area of resistance, right? We broke down and we found it as resistance. And then we broke down again and found it as resistance. Once we broke over, we found it as support. And once we broke down again, another major area of resistance. So you could see this 147 level taking us all the way to today was a perfect short opportunity, right? Perfect short opportunity off of 147, right? That gave us about, almost a 3-point move at the end of the day. Obviously a bigger move, but gave us a couple points move. And then for 148, so what was 148? If we take a look right up here, we can see this was another major area of resistance, right? So right about 148, another major area of resistance, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. So you guys can see that this is how I find these levels. These are major areas of support and resistance levels, guys. It's no magic, nothing to it. This is exactly how you do it. Now for Apple, I didn't have a bounce area today. I just had a reject. Rejects honestly are my favorite to play. I think they are the easiest to play. If you guys are, playing options and using this strategy, I do give 2 levels, right? Technically, there could be 4 levels in the mix because you can play, like I said, on the Tesla, if we broke through a level, you could take puts on it. It was a pivot point level, right? Well, let's just take a look here of how we could have found this support today, right? So if we look, where did Apple bounce off of, or where did we bounce off of, in the pre-market? Well, as you could see, it was a major area of resistance and a breakout area that found support, right? Take a look there. See, major area of resistance, found support here, found support, right? Major area of resistance. We want to take a look down here. This was a major area of support. See that? Major area of support, right? So I hope you guys are understanding how to find these major areas of support and resistance levels, which is crucial to the BBR strategy. So, sorry, I had to grab a drink of water real quick. So you guys can see that 147 level, major to 148, right? I mean, this is the all tell right here. Previous day and into the after hours close. I mean, it can't get any much clearer than this. And then, like we said before, it was another major area before that drop, right? And then 148 was at another major area of resistance before this drop, and then 147 before this drop. So, guys, this is how you find these levels, right? This is how you find these levels. The last one I had today was AMD. I do really like to play AMD. I like the movement on it. I think, especially for newer traders, tickers like AMD and Apple should be your go-tos. I know everybody talks about SPY, SPX. Um, SPY is great if you can understand how to find your levels, right? SPY always plays level to level, but I'm trying to help the newer traders right now. I'm trying to help you guys become successful, become profitable. And I really think you should be playing these other tickers, especially always weeklies. Don't ever play zero dates. Always play weekly. So if you're going to go play SPY, that's great. I love that for you. I'm sure you're going to bank, but please play weeklies. Do not ever play a zero date. So for AMD, I had 68.60 to 69.18 reject, and then over 69.18 for calls, right? And I had this some bounce areas as well, but I said, let's look at the area for calls, right? So drew my levels out. Let's remove these real quick. So 69, at 69, I think I said, was it? Yeah, 69.18, right? So this was a major area of rejection, right? Major area of rejection, right? So we could have taken calls right when we passed by that area. The chips are very strong, and green Hulk candles that came out this morning. But we can also take a look here at 68.60, right? What was that level? 68.60 to 69.18 reject. So you guys see how these major area of resistance played out today. So let me just draw some lines. Let me get rid of these. I mean, you could see these. So let's just pay attention to just these reject levels, right? Let's just pay attention to just these reject levels. So there's one, and here's another one. Now, usually the pre-market will give us better levels. I usually do pre-market after hours and previous day will give us some pretty good levels. But as of recently, especially with through chop, you're going to have to look more towards the previous day's major areas of support and resistance, and that includes after hours and pre-market. But yeah, especially during this chop and during this time, it seems that these previous days up into a week, couple weeks back is what is giving us these major levels again, because again, we are in chop and in a range. So let's take a look right here, right? We're at the 68.60 level, roughly. How did that play out today? Well, if you guys can take a look through today, what happened? We found it as support, but we broke. And we found it as resistance, but we broke, right? I mean, this can't get any cleaner for you guys. This shows you that these major resistance and support levels are absolutely important going on through the weeks, right? They go back and they retest them over and over and over again. So just this level right here, look at how well it played out perfectly today. So you could have just used this level for a breakdown or a breakout too as well. 68.60, right? And look how perfectly that is. Now we're on the 10-minute, and you could see exactly how these candles lined up to it. I mean, absolutely perfect. And also this level right here, that 69.18 was the high. So I said, if we break over that, we can also take calls. Boom, calls. If we break down below, we can also take puts, right? Boom. I mean, guys, this can't get any cleaner for you guys. So the basis of the strategy, of the bounce break reject strategy, is finding these major areas of support and resistances. Now, the basics is finding the pre-market highs and lows, previous days highs and lows, right, as levels. But I will include that we really need to be looking at the previous days, plural, multiple days, up to a week to a couple of weeks out on the 10, 15, and 30-minute. But let's take a look here. Look at where it bounced today, right? Look at where it bounced today. So I had a 67 to 67.50 bounce, and look at where it bounced, right? So at 67 to 67.50, how did I find that, right? So that was a major area of support, right? And then we found that support here right before we jumped off in the pre-market. So this is pretty much the open, found the support again. But if you guys want to take a look back, same area where we found support into the close. But what do you know? This was a major area of resistance as well, right? A major area of resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right here on this. So do you guys see how well this is adding up? Look at that. Boom. Found support here, found support here, broke down, found it as resistance, came back, find that major support over here was resistance. And once we broke over, we found it as support, right? And then we played back and forth on this line. So guys, this is how you find it. You need to understand support and resistances. You need to understand looking back at these major areas. This is how I play the BBR strategy. This is exactly how I do it. And now the team bank today, every single day we have some nice wins in here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope that you guys learned a little bit from this. Again, this is in the Wolves of Wealth community as well as my super followers. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. More will become. Like I said, green all week, small gains with gains nonetheless. BBR, exactly, BBR strategy. So if you want to learn more, come into the Wolves of Wealth community. We'll welcome you with open arms, making you a better, disciplined, successful trader. If not, go ahead and hit that super follower button to just get my trade plans every single morning. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.